Welcome everyone to today's webinar about succeeding on European marketplaces. I am Murat Erder and I will be your host for this session for 1 hour. In today's competitive world, marketplaces are the biggest sales points of many brands, although they have their own web pages. And the numbers which I will tell will also confirm.
I'll just wait a second, ladies and gentlemen. I think Murat's having a little bit of internet issues, so we'll just wait for a minute. I'll let him know that his connection is
across countries, average of 75 of Europe online in 2025. For this webinar, we will cover key strategies for thriving in major European marketplaces such as Amazon and Zalando.
Murat, do you hear us?
Local Turkish places.
Yeah, Murat, you're having some internet connection issues.
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you do a quick check on that, and maybe we just take it from the top, because we didn't hear most of what you said.
Okay. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We didn't hear much. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I think we have a problem with the internet, but let me start from the beginning. Welcome again to today's webinar about succeeding on European marketplaces. I am Murat Erder, and I will be your host for this session for 1 hour. In today's competitive world, marketplaces are the biggest sales points of many brands, although they have their own web pages. And the numbers, which I will tell you, also confirm my statement. 35% of all online purchases are made on a marketplace, and 85% of web traffic goes to marketplaces in Europe. This is huge. There will be 564 million e-commerce consumers across all European countries, and average of 25% of people in Europe buy online in 2025. During this webinar, we will cover key strategies for thriving in major European marketplaces such as Amazon and Zalando. We will also underline fundamental principles of selling on local Turkish marketplaces such as Trendyol. I'm sure that you have many questions such as, which marketplace shall we enter? What are the main challenges? How will we deliver all the products in an efficient way? And what is the strategy for seamless product management? No worries, we have 1 hour and we will talk all about them, and we want to make this webinar as interactive as possible. So feel free to ask your questions, share your thoughts, and participate in the discussion. By the end of this webinar, you will have a solid understanding of key factors about European marketplaces. So before we dive in, I would like to introduce our guests. First of all, Ozan Mert Karaagac, CEO of fiCommerce. Hi, Ozan.
Hi, Murat. Thank you.
And Michel Dröge, Team Lead Channel Partnership at Channel Engine. Hi, Michel.
Hi, Murat. Thank you very much for hosting this today, and welcome everybody to the webinar.
Before we start, could you please give some information about yourself and your company?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, Channel Engine, it's an e-commerce and marketplace management suite, also known as a marketplace integrator. And we help brands from around the world to sell their products on marketplaces worldwide. So our SaaS platform automates product listing, order, shipment, cancellation, return flows. And we can do dynamic repricing, create virtual bundles, and we give access to more than 700 marketplaces across the world, like Amazon, Trendyol, Zalando. And brands and resellers like Hunkemöller, Electrolux, Sonos, Pepsi Burada, they choose to work with us because our platform and support teams connect global e-commerce, basically. And they help them save time and grow their business. We have offices in many key regions, such as in the Netherlands for the EU, that's where our HQ is, in Dubai for the META region, NYC in Toronto for North America, and in Singapore for APAC. like I said, my name is Mitchell. I do channel partnerships over here at Channel Engine and manage relations with hundreds of marketplaces globally. And this has provided me with many useful insights into selling on marketplaces, which I'm very keen to share with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ozan?
Thank you. Thank you once again, Murat and Mitch, for this webinar, and also thanks to all participants that listened to us. Actually, let me introduce myself quickly. I am in fulfillment and e-commerce business. It has been almost 17 years. The thing, 11 years ago, I think we built the first fulfillment operations in Turkey. And in those years, I think it was less than 2%, the e-commerce market in the total retail market, actually. It was only 2%, and it was quite new for Turkey. But now, today, it is, I think, 17%. So the business grew so much. So fulfillment operations grew accordingly. The thing is, fiCommerce is built 2 years ago, and we were based in Istanbul, and we started our operations in Turkey for fulfillment business, and we have some fulfillment plus services. Thanks to our technology and thanks to our partners like Channel Engine, we have access to a lot of marketplaces, and also we are able to develop web shop stores of our clients, and also we are able to manage their e-store or marketplace stores, actually. And also we have customer services. It is only for e-commerce store operations. But the thing is, we are able to provide end-to-end services for private label brands, and also we have a fulfillment network in different countries, not only in Turkey but also in Germany, in Netherlands, in Poland, and I can announce that we are going to start in Dubai.
Oh, Dubai.
In the first quarter of next year. So 3 months later, we will be also in Dubai, and we are also in United Kingdom. So the thing is, what we are trying to do, once a brand wants to exist in e-commerce, then we ease their lives, actually, for all the operations they need. We are not doing the marketing business. We are not designing the product. We are not actually doing any branding activities, but we do all the operations for them, and we try to ease their life in e-commerce. So thank you once again for this webinar.
Thank you so much. By the way, there are lots of people are watching us at the moment, and I would like to ask them, because they see us, but we don't see them, and we don't know which industry are they dealing with. So the first question is, what industry is your business in? If you can give, your answer, we will be so happy, so that we will understand, and we will give some examples regarding to your industry. There are some fashion, home and living, electronics, beauty and self-care, and other. Regarding to your answers, let me give 10 more seconds. Maybe, are you thinking? I think fashion seems like the most,
Fashion winning.
Fashion, yeah. I think we can, let me give 5 more seconds, and then we will see the answers. Yep. So regarding to answers, I think the 50% are in the fashion industry. And then we have home and living and electronics. But fashion is the, I think, today's trendy industry right now. So, Michel, I would like to ask you, you are so experienced in European marketplaces. So would you like to start with you? Why do Turkish brands consider selling on European marketplaces?
Yeah, thanks, Murat. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the sellers for being at this webinar, and to join and having the drive to grow. Expanding internationally can seem daunting. I know, and we know from our experience that Turkish brands, especially in fashion, but also home and living, many other industries, are very export oriented, and I think there's a big opportunity there. In all honesty, it does take good planning and hard work to succeed, right? And as a matter of fact, recent research among established e-commerce players in the Netherlands shows that most brands don't break even in their first year of expansion. Let that sink in. Sky is the limit, of course, but there's also that realization that it's hard work and that first year is really an investment. The extra costs related to entering a market are an investment that needs time to flourish, right? So with that in mind, I would like to also say that the opportunity in Europe is substantial, right? And I'm happy to share some insights today with you about the European market. I think we'll get to that in a second. Many of you might already be selling in Europe to a certain degree. But yeah, why is the European marketplace so interesting? Well, obviously the relative proximity of the market, maybe also the presence of in certain countries Turkish diaspora makes it extra interesting for Turkish brands to make that step. Moreover, the European e-commerce size is just gigantic. So recent numbers show that the total e-commerce market in Europe is 625 billion euros. So it's massive. Still, lots of growth possibility. So even though it's a large market already, the average is between 10 to 15% of online retail penetration, as compared to around 30% in China or South Korea, right? So even though it's already a big market, there is still so much room for growth, and that means there's still a massive opportunity for more brands to jump in there and to take advantage of that growth. Of course, established markets like UK, Germany, France, but also Benelux, they're already very far in that transition. But there are some markets where e-commerce is still growing rapidly, like Poland, Spain, Italy. I think they sit somewhere between 46 and 65% e-commerce penetration, as compared to 86% penetration in Northern Europe. So within Europe, different regions where the growth will be even more, and where the opportunity in the future will be even bigger. Why specifically look at European marketplaces, right? Because there are many ways you can expand into different European markets. Why not go just using your web shop, right? Well, marketplaces, also known as 3P platforms, well, they offer advantages that you simply don't have when using your own website as a channel for expansion. Maybe some of you are already selling on trendyol in Turkey, right? So you know the advantages. But in a nutshell, marketplaces have an existing audience that's massive. There are advertising opportunities, payment infrastructure is there. In some cases, logistical services are there that you can tap into. And just as in the rest of the world, at least 70% of European consumers prefer to shop on online marketplaces. So that's really where the consumer is when they buy online. That's why the European market is interesting, and that's why marketplaces form, an exceptionally good opportunity to expand.
The numbers you have been telling are great. I mean, there is a huge potential. Ozan, let me ask the first question. Like, you don't only serve Turkish brands who would like to go to abroad, but also foreign brands as well. But first, I want to ask Turkish brands, which country do they sell most? Which marketplace is the most popular, and what do they sell? Because this is very frequently one of the frequent asked questions. So let me hear.
Let's start with the general overview, Murat, for Turkish companies actually. The thing is, the e-commerce market is very big. It is approximately 6 trillion US dollar. But in Turkey, e-commerce market is approximately 30 billion dollars. So there are a lot of opportunity out of Turkey for Turkish brands. Actually, the thing is, Turkey is a strong exporter, especially to European Union. For example, for textile, more than 50%, I think 54% of export for textile is already done to European Union. But when you look at what kind of export operation we have, thus Turkish brands are well-known, reputable brands and selling their products, or kind of supplier for other international brands. The second, a good quality production, well-known producers, but not well-known brands actually. Yeah. This is the reality today. The thing is, if we only talk about which marketplaces or which countries are most popular considering our clients, I can say that in Western Europe, especially Germany, the Benelux, the Netherlands or Belgium, France, and also, of course, there are Turkish population in these countries, which makes sometimes easy for a Turkish brand, well-known Turkish brand in Turkey to start a business in the country that you are already well-known with some of the population. And of course, in Eastern Europe, there are very strong brands as well. We see some domination of Turkish brands in Eastern Europe, especially in fashion. But for Western Europe or for UK or for US, this is not the case today. So looking at Turkey, how e-commerce is growing, actually, for example, last year, more than 40% only order-based, we see a growth in e-commerce in Turkey. And more than 500,000 sellers are already active in e-commerce. So you see how entrepreneur country Turkey is. Yeah. And I think 97% of them are already selling in marketplaces in Turkey. So they are used to marketplaces already. Of course, there are a lot of differences considering Turkish way of doing business or European way of doing business, setting up the stores. Of course, there are always differences between every country. But the thing is, you already know how to list the products. You already know how to ship the product. You already know how to manage all the business actually. Even if there are differences, it is e-commerce. You list, you get the order, you prepare the package, you ship. That's so simple. Yeah. So when we say it is simple, of course, there is a huge operation behind it, but we are used to marketplaces. That's what I'm trying to mention. And also, for the marketplaces, I can say that, of course, we have the participants coming from fashion, as you mentioned from the poll. Yeah. Zalando is the most popular.
Zalando.
Zalando. But the thing is, it's not easy to be in Zalando, especially for the last year. Trendyol is also growing in Europe as well. And also, of course, there's About You. There are different options in Western Europe. Also, Otto, for Allegro, which maybe you can
absolutely
add some marketplaces here as well.
Yeah. You mentioned some absolute top ones, right? Easily the number one is Zalando. About You growing very fast, especially popular with Gen Z. It's mobile first. But yeah, really depending on which specific market you want to enter, there are local heroes everywhere. It's a very fragmented market, which is quite different, even though it's like, apart from UK, it's one union. But yeah, in the e-commerce landscape, you don't see it as a union. It's very fragmented. So a couple more that are interesting for fashion sellers would be a platform like Minto, if you're selling very premium fashion products. You also have Spartoo, which, although hasn't grown that much over the last years anymore, still can offer interesting opportunities in France and some other markets. And of course, Yux in Southern Europe, by the Net-a-Porter group. They offer a more premium option. So yeah, there are a lot of channels out there. I see also some people from a home and living industry over here in the poll. Any channels that you guys look at, Ozan, when it comes to that category?
Yeah, actually, in Turkey there are, and that's another strong environment for Turkey. We have a lot of home and living producers, but for e-export, we have a lot to do also, and we need to, maybe in fashion we have in Turkey some popular brands already in Middle East and in Eastern Europe mostly, but I think there is much more potential in home and living category.
Sure.
But it is much more difficult to make a business because of the size of the products, much more logistics costs, more complicated processes. Also for the production, it is much more complicated, and the lead times are much more longer. But once you succeed, of course, there's much more potential in home and living categories. This is what I think. But these two categories, fashion and home categories, they have a huge potential in both Europe and Middle East for Turkish e-exporters.
Yeah, lot of channels also to highlight. I think in Europe, Middle East as well. But some of the top ones, absolutely throughout the continent, would be Leroy Merlin from France. They have stores around the continent, and they've opened up a marketplace years ago, and it's in that category, DIY / home and living. It's one of the bigger players. Definitely one to assess. But also, newer players like Home24, which is a fully online marketplace. E-Tailor, that became a marketplace a year ago. We see tremendous growth. They're live almost throughout the whole continent. And maybe a third one I'd like to highlight is Mano Mano, which is from France again, and is also purely online. And they're in the top 5 markets in Europe. And yeah, they reached unicorn status, I think, 2 years ago, and they've grown rapidly. So yeah, those would definitely be 3 channels to look out for if you're in the business. And the horizontal channels, of course, right? Sorry, Murat, we haven't touched on them, but the Amazons, eBay, in Benelux Bowl, they're great also for home and living, and also for electronics. So yeah, a lot of options. We can go into more details on what the factors are to choose which channel is relevant.
By the way, I would like to ask the people, because we are talking about selling on European marketplaces, but I would like to understand whether people are selling on European marketplaces or not. I mean, can we get the second poll and see, because there are lots of new entrances. If you are selling in the marketplaces, are you selling in 1 or 2, or planning to sell soon, or what else? it will be good for us to give the best examples. Yes, we are getting the answers. So let me give 10 or 15 seconds. So, and see, wow, people are selling 2 or more marketplaces, seems like.
As I mentioned, 90% of sellers in Turkey are selling in a marketplace.
I mean, more than 70% or 60% is changing, but most of the people are selling in 2 or more marketplaces in this webinar who have attended. So the next question is, before this webinar, Michel, we have had a talk with you and Ozan, and you have been always mentioning about the importance about the marketplace strategy. And the question is, why do we need it? And what kind of strategy shall we think?
Yeah, of course. Without strategy, how will you get success, right? You can't just throw something at the wall and just hope it's going to stick. So a couple of things to consider. First of all, 1P versus 3P, right? I think if you're already a little bit bigger brand, your products might already be available offline in some European countries. There could be an opportunity also to, instead of sell as a marketplace seller, to have a platform like Amazon or Bol or any of these bigger horizontal marketplaces to buy your products where you will be the vendor, right? So that can also be an option. That's the 1P option. And then on the other side of the spectrum is the 3P option. So you're really selling on the platform and you being the seller of record. That's a decision you need to make. Sometimes sellers also have a hybrid setup. But of course, if you're a new brand for the region, it's going to be very hard for you to negotiate a 1P relationship with the marketplace because there's no good business case for them to say, hey, we're going to buy up your stock and sell it on our website. So then typically 3P is the way to go. And that's also what we're zooming in on here today, of course. But it is still a question that you need to answer. And then, of course, how are you going to fulfill your products? It's a very important decision to make. Are you going to do your own fulfillment? Will you do cross-border shipping from Turkey? Will you use channel fulfillment? Will you use a 3PL? Well, we have the experts here today in the call, of course, with fiCommerce, so I won't go into detail on that. But having a fulfillment strategy is super important, of course. And then there's a lot of things you need to do well on marketplaces, right, to be successful. So you need to make sure that your product listings are of a top quality, that they match exactly the attributes that are required on the marketplace. You need to do your keyword research, etc. Well, when it comes to finding the right attributes and making sure that your data contains that, of course, Channel Engine can help with that. We know exactly what the attributes are that are mandatory. So it's important to have a solution in place to help you with this and to make sure that, obviously, you get your products live as quickly as possible without any errors. Prices, of course, you compete often with great other brands in the market. So having strong pricing, having good discounts during Black Friday, maybe doing dynamic repricing to compete with potentially other resellers of your products. All of that is very important. So you need to have a proper price strategy. Again, something you can set up in Channel Engine. Also in the marketplaces, winning the buy box is important. So if you are competing with different companies that offer the same product, you need to be in the buy box position to maximize the number of sales. Lots of things are important for that. So you need to have a strong delivery time, good feedback score, a lot of different things. You have to have a good price for you to win that buy box. So keeping this in mind, if there are resellers you're competing against, to maximize all of this so you win the buy box. And this is the system that we have on Amazon. It works like that on Bol. It works like that on Allegro. Many different big marketplaces in the region work like that. Well, there's more, but I don't want to rattle on for too long, but I'll mention one more that's very important. Those are ratings and reviews, right?
Yeah.
This is key. if you don't have good ratings of your products, good reviews, especially on marketplaces like Amazon, your products will not show up. You'll have a hard time getting a lot of sales. So make sure in your strategy, you're doing something about it, right? Like you're actively getting people to leave reviews, and you're managing that as well, and you're responding to those reviews as well. So a couple more things, but I think these are most key topics. Not sure if maybe Ozan wants to add something else to that.
I think reviews are very important, and I always please think of like when you consume, when you make a consumption, or when you are purchasing, what do you look at first? And they all say reviews. Yeah. So if it is the reviews, when you are a seller, please be careful about that ratings and reviews. So it is very important. Thank you, Mitchell.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned about just 10 or 15 minutes ago being a brand. So apart from production capacity and quality, Turkey has a significant role because of the location. It is a bridge between Europe and Asia. Unfortunately, most of the companies do subcontracting agreements rather than creating their brand. Creating a brand is not easy, of course, but if you do it, you will have many advantages in the long term. Why don't most companies in Turkey spend time on branding? Lack of knowledge, don't want to spend time, energy, or they don't have that vision. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, we can count them all actually, but basically, I think there are three things. There should be vision, there should be strategy, and of course, there should be financial strength. Let's say there should be money to build a brand. Of course, it is easy to have a short-term financial gain if you don't try to create a brand, but you produce or you do business for a well-known brand, because it is already selling, and you need to make a B2B business. So this is much more easy for not only, of course, Turkish brands, but for every company. Branding needs time. Branding needs complexity. Branding needs to knowing the customer. It brings a lot of efforts actually before your products are on the stage. It is of course regarding to these issues. Of course, you need to invest on technology. You need to invest on marketing. You need to invest on people. So there are a lot of things you have to solve before you become a brand. Actually, the localization, logistics setup, it is totally different than doing a supply chain business, the production to the brands actually. So that can change for some companies that they want to have an existence actually in not only in Turkey but also in Europe and also in Middle East and also in US. The good thing is e-commerce is a good way to be brand. It is now more easy, let's say easier to be a brand, because already Mitch mentioned there are hundreds of millions of members of these marketplaces, and they are already coming to this store, and you can introduce your brands via marketplaces. Or there are already a lot of service providers that can ease your life to become a brand actually. Of course, it is not only with marketplaces or with service providers. You should put a lot of effort to be a brand, but I think the main reason is vision, strategy, and the financial strength.
Thank you so much. By the way, I would like to ask our audience the challenges. I mean, which of these 5 challenges is the most difficult when entering into European marketplaces? We would like to hear so that we can answer some of these challenges, I guess. Lack of know-how, language barrier, financial issues, logistic issues, marketplace entry barriers. Let me see. Let's give 10 more seconds. Yeah. Logistic. Financial. Okay. Lack of know-how.
I think we have Ozan in the call.
Logistic and financial seems the most. Okay, logistics. Guess. Okay. I think we are lucky. You are lucky. Ozan is here. I think he will answer most of the questions about your problems or your challenges. Anyway, when you continue giving the poll, I would like to ask Mitchell the key factors. What are the key factors to consider when selecting the appropriate marketplaces for our products? It is also a commonly asked question, which marketplace? And would like to ask the same question for the country as well? I mean, and the marketplace, country.
Yeah, they're linked. One can't go without the other. And we get this question all the time, of course.
Yeah.
Because there are so many channels. So how do you ever choose where to start, and what is your next phase? And so it's a tricky one. At the same time, there's a lot of logic behind it, right? And I'm happy to share some factors. So I think actually I'll turn it around, right? Start first with what is the actual market that you want to focus on first, and then from there you drill down to what are the channels that make sense, because Europe is highly fragmented, right? So a rollout throughout the whole EU or European continent, it's hardly doable. You'll just completely overwhelm your go-to-market team, and you're setting yourself up for failure. So determining which countries to launch in first, and maybe looking already at the second phase, is the first key step. So yeah, what are a couple of things to consider? Yeah, what are the top 5 e-commerce friendly European countries? Well, those are the UK, France, Germany, Spain, and Italy. And that's based on online spending. So 86% of online spending in Europe is in these 5 countries, especially UK and Germany and France. So that can be a starting point, right? Like where's the biggest market? Where is the biggest opportunity? And I think in a second tier, places like the Benelux, so Belgium, Netherlands, and Poland are very interesting from a market size and e-commerce penetration point of view. Okay, well, then you still need to break it down, right? You still need to do more research. So our advice is to start by prioritizing categories that already attain a good ROI and a good average order value, because this gives an early indication of potential. So just look at the products you're selling already in your home market, or maybe some other markets you already expanded to, and really look at the categories that have that high ROI and average order value. Then in the markets that you've highlighted as a first check, look at the competitors within these categories and check on what kind of prices they're maintaining. Look at the typical return rates and these type of things and the costs associated with it. Analyze delivery options, and then you'll have an overview of where could you actually be successful compared to that competition. And actually to add here a very specific insight on return rates, because of course that really impacts your cost structure and how competitive you can be. Good to know that even though Germany is a massive opportunity, and this is very specific for fashion brands, Germany is also the world champion in returns. So you need to take into account that consumers there return a lot of clothes, and it will cost you a decent amount of money to keep running there. So take that into account when you make your business case and assess if that's feasible for you. After choosing your markets, there are a lot of factors that determine which channels are relevant. So just highlight a couple. So first of all, reach and GMV, right? You want to be where all the consumers are. So start prioritizing channels by the number of visits and the amount of GMV that's being done, the number of countries you can reach. Do keep in mind that on these massive platforms, overcrowding is also a challenge. So you have a lot of competition, but still, this is where the consumers are. So I think the prime example in Europe is Amazon. They're the biggest in the 5 big markets and growing fast outside that as well. Then, drilling down a little bit further. Oh, do I still have a minute, Murat? Or?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Just a couple more. So then you can look at horizontal versus vertical, right? So a horizontal marketplace is a generic one, and a vertical specific one, a vertical marketplace is a niche marketplace. So in general, horizontal platforms offer strong reach, like I just explained with Amazon. But the positioning of such a platform might not always connect with your brand identity or your price point. Vertical specific marketplaces have very relevant shoppers, right? So if somebody's shopping on Zalando, they're looking for fashion. So there's that buy intent for your type of product. Or if they're shopping on Mano Mano, you know they're looking for tools or maybe a chair or something for the house. So that offers a lot of potential for you as a brand. However, with these vertical specific marketplaces, there's one danger, which is that they're heavily curated often. So they don't just allow any seller to enter the marketplace. So you need to do your best, have a good brand deck, and show why the marketplace should accept you. Good examples of horizontal marketplaces are Amazon and Bol, and vertical ones would be Zalando, which is curated, and Spartu, which is maybe a little bit less curated. Then if we look at price points, you also have very premium marketplaces compared to more affordable ones. So if you have premium products, you want to have your products maybe on a marketplace like 24S or in fashion, or if you're selling home and living products, you want to be on Maisons du Monde. If you're selling, a little bit more affordable products, not $500 or euro pants, you might want to be on Otto, and in home and living, a more affordable type of marketplace is Home24. So that also influences, of course, which channel you choose, right? Last 2 points, one being off price versus full price. So you're never going to be able to sell off all your stock through your own channels and your marketplace channels, so you'll always have some leftover stock. In Europe, there are different off-price marketplaces that allow you to push your products at a discount to get rid of your overstock without diluting your brand image, right? You might not want to give these massive discounts on a channel like Zalando or your own web shop. And off-price channels are abound. For example, Afound, Secret Sales, Naduvi. These are all different types of platforms you can use for your overstock. Well, I think I've gone on a little bit too long already. I'll give just one bonus thing to consider. Whatever marketplace you choose, approach it as a partnership. So a lot of marketplaces, they're very partner-oriented. Not all of them, but quite a lot are, which means they're only as successful as the brands, of course, that are selling on their platform. So they're going to be interested in investing in the relationship with you as a brand and offer opportunities in terms of advertising campaigns, etc. So we have one great example. One of our clients, they actually worked together with Poland's biggest marketplace to open a completely new category in a partnership with the marketplace. And this grew into a multi-million category within months. So instead of not seeing the category available on the marketplace and just thinking, okay, there's no opportunity there, they approached that channel and said, hey, we want to open it up with you. Let's do it together. And now it's a multi-million euro business. So that partnership with the marketplace is key and can offer a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, regarding to our poll, I think everybody gave their answer. The logistic issues is the number one, Ozan. So question is, what are the logistics and supply chain considerations that Turkish brands need to account for when selling their products on European marketplaces, and how they can optimize their operations accordingly?
not only for Turkish brands actually, or not only about selling in Europe, but for e-commerce, or let's say for all the operations, it's always same. We should check three things: the cost, the speed, and the quality. And when it comes to European marketplaces, of course, there are some rule sets of marketplaces, not only for logistics, but if we need to talk about logistics, of course, you should ship in, let's say, in most of the marketplaces in 48 hours. In 2 days, the delivery company should have the parcel from you. But of course, it depends. For example, it might be sometimes 24 hours based on the Trendyol does this actually based on the volumes you have. They can have different kind of also targets. But the thing is, if you have an operation that is able to ship all the products in 24 hours, if in that speed you are running your fulfillment business, you are in good condition. It doesn't matter with which marketplace you are working with. If you are shipping the parcels, the orders that arrive up to 2 p.m. in the same day, then that's a perfect fulfillment speed actually. And also considering, for example, the delivery, last mile delivery. Of course, it depends from the shipping country to where you are going to ship. It's mostly takes 1 to 3 days in Europe, but sometimes it takes 5 days. And the thing is, there is nothing you can do. It is the delivery company performance, and already marketplaces knows their lead times, and so it is fine to ship it delivery companies that marketplace lets to ship. On the other hand, for the receiving, I think if you are able to receive all the products, make the put away, and let's say make them ready to sell for these marketplaces, and if you can do it in maximum 48 hours, maybe in peak times it may go to 3 days. I think it is also acceptable fulfillment level. On the other hand, short peak is an issue. When I say short peak, Murat, it's a kind of not fulfilling the orders totally. I mean, once we have an order, but we are not able to ship them all because of, let's say, accuracy problems we have in the storage. Or, of course, these are all affecting your KPIs. If you are making this less than 1 in 1,000, then you can be in a healthy condition. But if it is more, then you should actually develop your fulfillment operation. So there are a lot of things I can count: the shipment accuracy rate, or a lot of features you have to bring with your system, like tracking of all the serial IDs, sometimes tracking the expire dates of the products, or a lot of actually things that we can talk about these logistics and supply chain issues. But as I mentioned, it is basically about speed, quality, and cost. So peak management is an example. If you have peaks, for example, now it is November, you should find a solution to manage the peak. It's a very short time, but you need a lot of HR power actually in that limited time. So I can say that cost-wise also there are a lot of things to talk based on the country you are. But if you have the right optimization, if you're in the right country, and for your sellers, of course, according to your strategy, you should find the best place for your logistics operation. Then I think these three will cover all your considerations.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I jump to the next question, I would like to ask the last poll question to our audience. We have been talking about lots of countries, but I wonder which European countries are your top choices for e-commerce? We listed some the most popular ones, but also added other parts. So maybe you can write from the chat as well. I mean, which country? So if you give answers, I think, yeah, the answers are coming. Let me see. Nobody to UK. There are some people who are answering for other. We wonder which country that one. If you write it from the chat, it will be great. Yeah, I think the most of the people are. I mean, it is Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Netherlands, and Belgium. Seems like the most of the answers are going that part. We don't have any UK, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will check this poll again and see. So, Michel, what are the primary challenges that Turkish brands encounter when venturing into European marketplaces, and how can they be effectively addressed?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Murat. Yeah, there's some big challenges for sure, but they can be solved. There's always a solution, right? So one of the things is that depending on the marketplace, in many cases you will need some kind of entity in a European or EU country in order to be eligible to sell on that marketplace. And in some cases, you will even need to have an entity in that specific country. So, for example, if you want to sell into the biggest marketplace in the Benelux, Bol, you will need to have a Chamber of Commerce registration with any of the EU countries. And you need to ship your stock also from a warehouse in an EU country and be able to deliver within, I believe, 8 days. For Otto, one of the biggest marketplaces in Germany, you even have to have the entity specifically in Germany. It's not allowed to have it outside of Germany, and you also need to ship it from within Germany. So these are impediments, and these are just two examples. There are many more examples. So these are just two of the impediments that these marketplaces have in place for, well, any non-EU brand trying to sell there. Also VAT requirements, right? You will need to apply for a VAT number. It's made a little bit easier nowadays with the OSS, so the one-stop shop. So you only need to apply for one number. You can use it across the EU. But yeah, it depends on where you have your stock, in which country you need to apply for it. A lot of challenges. I think a lot of these challenges, fiCommerce can help with to a great extent. They have a lot of experience with that. And then there are the different countries have different environmental requirements. There's the EPR, so like you need to offer repairs for electronics, and there's a WEEE certifications, things like that. That all differs per country. It sounds like a lot, but yeah, I think just before you take that step, look for consultants like fiCommerce. They can help with a lot of these issues. And lastly, and then I'll definitely pass the floor to Ozan, is like I mentioned before, there's some markets that make it challenging to enter, right? So Germany being a world champion in returns, so there's a lot of extra costs that can be an entry barrier. And I think also if your brand, kind of going back to the branding portion, if your brand is unknown, if you just list your products on the marketplace, it's not like you're magically going to garner sales, right? There's a lot of competition. So you really need to have a good plan also in terms of your branding, building your brand, and at the same time driving conversion, right? So at the same time putting money towards getting your products in front of consumers so they start to buy it, they start to rate it, and you start getting those better rankings. And that's challenging. It's not just for Turkish brands. I think any brand entering the European market, or basically any market in the world. But those are some challenges. But luckily, there are solutions for that, and of course, great consultants that can help.
So, Ozan, you talk about some countries like that you have warehouses across Turkey, Germany, Holland, Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. I think these are all. And people, the entrepreneurs, may not know from which country they will get most of the demand. So how do you arrange this situation? Which country you put the products at first? Or when Michel also underlined the return in European marketplaces. So the second question is return of the product. If a resident living in Poland and the return of the product, where does it go? How do you proceed this situation, the operation in a smooth way?
Okay, thank you, Murat. In addition to actually what Mitch already said, I can say that of course the popular countries are the same. The poll told us the same thing. Germany and Netherlands are more popular for Turkish brands. But the thing is, first we need to understand where they want to focus. So thanks to Channel Engine, they are supporting us a lot about marketplaces. They have a deep knowledge about marketplaces, and we work together with the client, Channel Engine, and us on the same table and talk about their strategy first. And then we try to find the best fit for them. Of course, they decide where to sell. And once they have this decision, the country, not only for the marketplaces, but also that marketplaces can serve to, let's say, 8 countries, but they want to choose to sell in, let's say, 5 countries. So once we have that information, then we can build on top of it our logistics infrastructure. So first, we need to design our strategy. And then, if that marketplace is asking shipping from Germany, and this is a must, then we don't have an option. We should be in Germany. Or asking any return address for Germany, then we should find a return operation, a solution for that client. So this is of course based on the limitations of marketplaces. But sometimes it is not about that. It is about the cost and quality. For example, if you are shipping, let's say, very limited orders to Europe via Etsy, then carrying your storage into Europe and have a cost of inventory in Europe, registering your VAT, it might be too much for you. You can make the cross-border from Turkey. You can ship from Turkey. But the thing is, if you are selling too much to Germany, let's say via Otto or About You or any German marketplace, then most of the time Germany is much more better for the logistics cost. But if you have a lot of storage, but you are shipping less orders, then Poland might be a better option for you. So it is based on the simulations we make actually. Sometimes best place is Poland, sometimes Netherlands, sometimes Germany, sometimes it is Turkey or United Kingdom. So there are a lot of different considerations behind it, but it always starts with where do you want to focus, which country and which marketplaces.
Great. At every webinar, the people are asking, what are we going to talk in an hour? But we already finished the 1 hour. But I think we have two questions actually. So if you don't mind, I would like to add 10 more minutes so that we can cover that questions as well. So Michel, you also told about the importance of the localization. I mean, preferences may change from region to region, market to market. So localization is very important. How can companies effectively localize their products to the specific needs and preferences of diverse international markets? And what are the key elements to consider when implementing a successful localization strategy?
Yeah, I think it's actually one of the most fun parts of this business, right? We all know the stories of big companies expanding to another region and trying to do the same thing they did exactly in that new market and failing. So localization has been key forever. Well, 3 pillars. 1, the product itself, packaging, your manuals. Obviously, that needs to be localized, and it needs to meet the requirements of each market. Also think about if you're selling electronics, make sure, if you're exporting to the UK, you have the right plugs. It's logical stuff, but key, of course. Secondly, the content itself, right? It needs to be localized. So your product information. Some cases, marketplaces do this automatically, so you just provide it in one language, and they will translate it into the different languages of the different extensions, country extensions. Zalando is an example for that. But many others, they require language-specific listings. A couple of things you can do. Start with machine translation and optimize on the go, or beforehand already do a full proper translation. The first one is cheaper and quicker. The second is more, effective. You can actually translate your content in Channel Engine. We have integrations with Google Translate, DeepL, so that's all possible. And then localizing your advertising. And with that, I mean both the ads being in the local language, but also taking into account the local culture, so the local popular culture, and making that fun for your audience. But also understanding the local sales calendar and even related regulations. So, for example, Black Friday is a thing across Europe. Christmas is a thing in most countries, but you also have very local events. Like in the Benelux, you have St. Nicholas, which is by far the biggest event to buy presents for kids. So, people start advertising for that already. You need to take this into account when you're doing your campaigns. You also need to take into account potential regulations. So in Belgium, you have the something called solden, which are just their discount sales campaigns. You can only do that at specific times in the year. If you do a campaign called solden outside of that specific time frame, you can even get fined, and because it's actually illegal to do. So understanding these cultural differences and these regulations is quite important to be successful.
Yeah, it is important to note these important places, as you mentioned. So, Ozan, could you please give some more information about your partnership with Channel Engine in Turkey, Europe, and the Middle East? And could you please talk more about what you do together? What are the benefits of this partnership?
First of all, I should say that we are very happy that we have chosen the right partner for our European expansion plans. It was maybe 1.5 years ago, while the pandemic was ongoing. I had a visit to Leiden, Channel Engine headquarters, and met with this great team. And after we have made our agreements, we became a strong partner with them, and we built our integrations actually including all the necessary services we have integrated our system, because if you don't have a seamless integration, then you will have a lot of trouble once you do e-commerce business. This is something we really care a lot as Channel Engine does. So we have several tests and several quality controls before go live, and it has been maybe more than 1 year since we started our cooperation with them. The thing is, for orders, return, product listing, cancels, storage, we have all connected, and it is working in a perfect harmony. And this is only the infrastructure, and it is very important. But also, as I mentioned, we are also working together, client per client, case by case, to find the best fit for our mutual clients, actually. And we are very happy, as I mentioned, for European expansion. And now we have a focus in GCC area. So together with Channel Engine, we are sure that we will have the same success what we have done in Europe. We will have the same success also in the GCC area. So let's say it's coming soon.
Great. So finally, I would like to ask Michel, could you please do a quick summary, maybe 3 or 4 sentences, about what to do for success in European marketplaces? What should we do for sustainable growth? Key marketplace strategies that should be taken into account. Maybe 5 sentences, let's say. 3 is less.
I'll keep it very short, but yeah, let me just repeat that it's of course key to first of all make very clear what are the markets you will enter into before choosing your channels. That is your first step, and finding the right channels is really determined by looking at your price point, by your vertical, and of course also by what kind of opportunities the marketplace offers for you as a brand. Keep these things in mind, and make sure that you have everything in place, right, when it comes to infrastructure, but also your logistics and the right logistics partner. I think those are some of the key things to work on, and then a lot is possible. And yeah, I think that's it.
Good, very quick. And Ozan, I also request from you to do a quick recap about the logistics and the supply chain strategies.
I will make it quicker, Murat, actually. Once they decide to do e-commerce business in Europe, now it is very easy to build fulfillment, integrations, all regulations actually to be watched, to be tracked about this operation. So it is just about to start the business, I think, and to find the right strategy, and the rest is easy to do.
Great.
I can say.
Great. I would like to thank both of you. We have been talking for more than 1 hour about how to be successful in European marketplaces, and we talked about lots of things. So I would like to thank for the audience. They participated in the polls. They give answers. So, and if you would like to access to these companies, the Channel Engine and the fiCommerce, you can you see from the screen the QR codes. If you put your mobile, you can access. But if you write on Google, if you can easily reach to their web pages. And Michel is here, Ozan is here. You can also access them from LinkedIn. It's very easy so to access. So if you want to do, if you have a plan to go European marketplaces, please call these 2 companies. Would you like to add some more? Anything?
Yeah, just that we're happy to look together with fiCommerce at your case. And like Ozan said, right, Europe is one thing, but I think also great opportunities in the GCC area, very exclusive opportunities through our network. and beyond, right? So happy to always chat and talk strategy with any of you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
And also, thanks for your moderation, Murat and Mitch. Thank you very much, all the participants. Unfortunately, time is up. We couldn't get any questions from the participants, but thank you very much, actually, for your times.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ozan. Thank you, Murat. Really appreciate it.